adventure, fitness, nutrition, and culture. Broadcasting live from Louisville, based in San Diego, California, this is Lionheart Radio, your active lifestyle headquarters.
Welcome to Lionheart Radio. I'm your host, Memo Ochoa, co-founder of Louisville, along with...
Hi guys, Claudia Challoner here, Doctor of Physical Therapy and nationally ranked powerlifter, and we have a very special guest today, Shawna Norton. She is the owner and founder of San Diego Rehab and Fitness. She's a CrossFit coach, a weightlifter, and a very strong advocate for avoiding accommodation with aging.
Hi.
Interesting topics tonight.
Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
So just to start off, how did you start your business and what drove you to start your business?
So I am a student at San Diego State completing my bachelor's in kinesiology, and one of the classes that is required is working in the fit clinic at school. And we are given a client, and it's someone most likely with a disability or an older client, and you're asked to create an exercise program for them, and you work with the client throughout the whole semester, and you build this exercise program and then help them go through it. And I appreciated the woman that I was given had a stroke 3.5 years ago, and I saw that she was not getting better. She would come to the fit clinic twice a week for an hour and a half. Every semester she would get a new student. They would have a month off in between sessions, and so she lost all of her fitness that she had gained in the previous semester, and then she'd start brand new with a new student who was oblivious to actually rehabbing somebody. So I appreciated that there was a niche that was not being filled. There was a great demand for rehab services that were not physical therapy, and I had the passion and the ability to fill that niche. So I started last year in February. I started working with these individuals, and in July we became an official business. And
okay,
yeah.
So what exactly does your business offer? Like, what do you?
We offer anything from strength training to rehab services. We focus on senior citizens and clients with disabilities, but we will do anything from continued stroke rehab, building a strength and rehab program for someone that's affected by a neurological condition like Parkinson's or multiple sclerosis, or if you have somebody that has finished their physical therapy, their 8 sessions that were pre-prescribed by the insurance, and they're still not 100%, we'll get them to full fitness.
Okay, great.
To full function.
And you guys, you don't work, you're cash pay system.
Cash pay system, yeah.
And you definitely advocate for affordable cash pay system for your business.
We so right now our rate is $50 an hour, but I work with anybody who is in a position that needs help. So there's kind of a minimum price that we can accept just because I have to pay my staff. But I really try hard, and like I was telling you, I started a foundation, and the foundation will supplement providing people with services if they can't afford us at all. So.
And that's the nonprofit foundation that you were discussing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Is the foundation named after your company?
So the foundation is named after my brother. Okay. My brother in 2007 had his life was ended short, and he suffered from some issues. He was kind of trapped in his own body because he was morbidly obese. And so I wanted to continue his legacy, and I appreciated that physical therapy and rehab services are people don't have access to them most of the time because of finances, and they don't have access to continued care because of finances. So I wanted to be able to have something that, again, continued my brother's legacy, and also could provide people with the finances to have a physical therapist come to the house, or even a personal trainer that was affordable. So.
Okay. What was your brother's name?
Michael. Yeah.
Awesome.
It's the Michael S. Norton Foundation. We just officially launched on Monday. I had all my paperwork submitted, and I'm really excited. And now we can, I've got some big goals for how much money we can raise. But there are lots of people who want to give money away. So I'm like, well, give it to us so we can help these people.
Awesome.
Oh yeah, that's great. I mean, $50 an hour is very reasonable.
Yes.
So, what does an insurance company or what does a regular rehab facility normally charge?
God, some of them for a physical therapist. I mean, if they were paying cash pay, you could be paying upwards of $150. We provide aquatics therapy. I have a kid. I call him a kid because he's like 20. He will do, so he's a licensed lifeguard, a certified lifeguard, and a licensed water instructor. He can go to someone's house and provide aquatics therapy in their house pool, in their own pool, or San Diego State lets us, they've agreed to let us use their pool. We have to pay it for it, but so a person could pay $60 to have this kid, or you could pay $230 for physical therapy, aquatics. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fucked up.
That's insane.
It's so insane. It's like these services that you appreciate, you know how important fitness is, how important exercise and movement are. It's fundamental to life. You have to be able to move. You have to be able to maintain your physical structure. If you can't, your quality of life is nothing.
Yeah.
And yet the services that we have to provide these people with movement are astronomically priced, and it's like even at $50 twice a week, that's $400 a month. If you have someone on Social Security or disability, they're now eating ramen so that they can afford someone to come out to help them walk, or they're just not going to walk. And then you think about like the effects of that, and all of a sudden, if you have someone who can't walk, well, like perfect example, I have a client who had a stroke 4 years ago, and his wife has a bad back because she's constantly helping him, and she doesn't have good form when she moves him, so her back is always hurting, and she's going to be another drain on the healthcare system because her back is going to be bad, and then she's going to be in the system too, but there won't be the rehab to help her because her insurance isn't gonna, they're gonna give her ibuprofen. They're not gonna send her to a PT.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
Well, even, from what I've heard, physical therapists are very limited in what they can do, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, just even like that same client that you were talking about with the stroke, we were talking that if he wanted to get home health care through his insurance, what it would be a physical therapist, and nothing against the physical therapist, we're all just trying to make our living,
and you're trying to help.
So, but we're being dictated so much by the insurance companies that a physical therapist could come to his house twice a week for 30 minutes at a time. You're not going to make any difference in that person's life coming around twice a week for 30 minutes. Like, you're not going to be able to do jack with that person. Right. But that's what the insurance dictates according to what's on this piece of paper on this, for this person about their different levels of inability to do A, B, and C or whatever. Like, insurance companies want you to be sick.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's
because that
problem.
because that makes money. And also too, it's so tough because if you have something wrong with you, they don't really care about what your squat looks like or how you're actually functioning. It's like, do you have any pain? Well, no, the pain's gone, but you still move like crap. So the pain's going to come back probably in a couple months or a year, maybe even a couple days. So it's like, it's trying to gauge that and like come to the actual problem of how things are dictated. It's so tough.
it's ridiculous. I hate it. I mean, people. A lot of people are always complaining about insurance and the Obamacare and this and that, but the real problem lies in the medical industry. It is much deeper. That's where we need to start.
Yeah.
We're a fix-it system.
Yeah.
We're a system designed. We were never really built on prevention. We're completely built. So you're talking about the 30 minutes. The lady you met, little Filipino lady.
Okay, yeah.
Lady. Okay, so she's the cutest lady on the friggin' planet. She's 92 years old, right? She was having a physical therapist that the insurance gave her. They were coming out twice a week for 15 minutes. She's 92, cannot get up out of her chair without help. When she walks, it sounds like a combination of like the bubble wrap and like some thump 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 noises. Like I literally thought the noises were coming from her walker moving along the carpet. It was coming from her fucking hips.
Goodness.
So 15 minutes, twice a week, this lady was coming out to massage her fucking arms. I'm like,
Whoa.
You're not even helping the, she needs like, what? And then they stopped. Yeah, and then they stopped having her come out because she got a prescribed amount. And it's like, what do you think? Like, how do you think this is going to help this woman?
Do you think there's anything being done out there to kind of...
Yeah, me.
Oh.
And Claudia.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
Susan
definitely
and Teresa
at the, lower level, I guess, not saying that you guys aren't doing, big things with what you do, but, I mean, the medical industry is just so gigantic.
I think there has been some different changes with going to more of the preventative care. Kelly Starrett's done a great job about kind of leading that path and stuff, and more about self-maintenance and preventative care, fixing movement before you have pain, or fixing movement before A, B, and C fall apart or whatever. But that's more of our generation, or the generation a little bit younger than us. That's these people that are already 60 years old or 70-year-olds. Like, they weren't taught anything of how to move or how to squat or how to do any of that stuff when they were younger. So they've been doing these poor movement patterns like this their whole lives. So the problem is so ingrained that, but this is a huge patient population that needs help. They need help so bad, and it's not being addressed appropriately. Yeah. So I think there has been making some more progress for these younger generations that are learning how to move a little bit better and stuff, which is great, but that's not really making a whole big difference for these older population that's been doing something for their whole lives.
Right. And it's sorry.
No, go ahead.
It's like what I was asking you about your mom. We, the younger generation, we are just as much a part of the problem, because if you're a good kid and you love your parent, as your parent gets older, you're going to help them. Mm-hmm. Don't worry, Mom. Stay sitting down. Mm-hmm. I will get whatever you need. Don't worry. Don't get up. Let me bring your dinner to you. Don't get up. I will walk the dog. Don't get up. Don't get up. And all of a sudden, you turn around and your mom can't get up. Mm-hmm. Because you told her to sit there, and you loved her to death because you were helping her. And we take away all of their reason to move, and we think we're helping them. Don't worry, I'll get the groceries for you. Don't worry, I'll carry that heavy thing. And then you also give them that victim mentality, or that mentality of like, getting weaker is something that comes with age. That's actually not true. So the statistic is, it's called sarcopenia, that you losing muscle mass, right, as you age. And the average adult loses 3 to 5% muscle mass each year. I think, and it's like after the age of 40 or 50, I want to say.
Yeah, probably around that.
So that's completely unnecessary. We would lose about 1 to 2% if we demanded physical exercise and strength training on a regular basis up until the time we died, right? Mm-hmm. But so I got one of my clients, she is in her 70s and she has scoliosis. I got her from this fucking stupid class called Gentle Fitness. You can't get up, your balance sucks, you have no strength. Sit in a chair, and here are your 2-pound dumbbells, and let's give you this good feeling that you exercised for an hour. You didn't fucking exercise. Like, a 2-pound dumbbell is equivalent to what in your life?
Yeah. And it's like, so they're just swindling this poor lady.
Yeah, because it makes them feel like they're exercising. And I will say, yes, they're doing something, but you've like, I literally was making her do heavy carries, quote unquote. I was giving her 15-pound dumbbells in each hand, and I said, no, you're gonna walk with these. And she was so funny. The first time I did it, like I didn't just hand her the 15s. I worked, we worked out. We started at 5 and then went to 8. I'm not that mean. But the first time she had 15s in her hand, she said, I feel like I'm walking with a ball and chain on my foot. And because it was so heavy for her. And I said, Joyce, when you were in your prime, you had a toddler on one hand and you had 30 pounds of groceries in the other, and you did it without any issue. But we are told that we're going to get weaker as we get older. We are told that weakness is part of the aging process, and we are told to accommodate our age. If you have 30 pounds of groceries in the car, instead of making 2 trips, now you make 3 trips, and now you make 4 trips, and now you ask your neighbor to help, and then you have the food delivered, and the next thing you know, you're stuck in the house and can't get your fucking groceries out.
Yeah.
And it's like, you don't actually have to be like that, or your balance is shit. And they all say, well, I never had to practice my balance when I was a kid. No, because, when you were 30 and you had the toddler, you're bending down to put the toddler's shoes on, and you're jumping and spinning to get up to react to the next thing in life, and you're constantly challenging your balance system. Well, if you take all of those challenges away, our body adapts. Our body adapts to the moment, and your adaptation is you lose it. It is true, if you don't use it, you lose it. You will lose it.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah. And so, the conversation needs to be, what can I do now to fix where I'm at, and what do I do to prevent myself from further deterioration? And let that 100-year-old marathoner not be the exception, but let them be the rule. Not put them on the fucking cover of the newspaper because they're they're some amazing thing. Let it never even make the news because everybody's doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, it's...
But yeah, I mean, and you also have to, look at our society as a whole. I mean, you can go through your entire day for the majority of the population, and you're never going to get lower than a 90-degree position with your hip or knee, into a squat position.
I never even thought about that.
You could probably get by with your day with walking from around your house to your car. That could be even in your garage, so that's not even out of your house. And then driving to work, and then taking the elevator up to your cubicle, where you sit the rest of the day, maybe that trip to the bathroom a couple times, and then go back to your car, go back home, done. That's you didn't even move at all.
Holy shit.
And so it's so scary. But then you also look at I don't know, I think a great example is airports. Okay? There's chairs everywhere for airports. There is these what are those, the walkways that
the
move?
Moving escalators?
Yes. Yeah. Okay, those ones. Okay, so
those are fun though. Because we walk really fast on them.
Those are fun. Those do make me feel fast.
Yeah.
You have, escalators, all of this stuff, elevators, and then you see people lining up to get on the escalator. And then the stairs are bare.
Dude, that's how it is at school. At San Diego State. These little shits, they're in their 20s, and there's 5 of them waiting to fucking use the elevator to probably go up 2 flights of stairs.
Yeah.
And it takes every ounce of self-control I have not to go, you get up those stairs right now. You walk, because you are not helping anybody.
Yeah. But that's the thing, it's about you accommodate to the situations around you. If there is chairs in the doctor's waiting room, you're probably going to sit down. And you're going to sit down for that 20 minutes or hour and a half, however long, your doctor takes to get you in there. Or, if an escalator or elevator, sometimes it's even hard to find the stairs. If you do want to take the stairs, it's in the kind of this dodgy, backlit area,
Yeah, you can get sketched sometimes.
It's not accessible for, even if you do want to make that choice, it's the inconvenience, of actually choosing that.
It's funny you said that. So I was at the County of San Diego Health and Human Services, and you cannot use the stairs. You have to have a key, a key card, to get up the stairs. I tried to use them, and they're like, yeah, no. And I'm like, that is fucked up. This is the Health and Human Services Department, and I can't be healthy.
Yeah.
Like,
You're preventing me from getting my fitness on.
And it's really funny because they called it, what did they call it? It was some, like, something area, like some, not respite area or something. The stairwells were someplace. The perception I got was where you would escape to if something bad was going on. But I'm like, yeah, but no one, you can get in, but like not everyone can get in. So how is this like a safe? Yeah, it was really weird. I'm like, I don't understand how you can't just use the stairs.
That's funny.
Yeah, it was kind of. Yeah, our society is fucked up.
Well, it's definitely the norm, like you were saying, or both of you were saying, that little by little you are noticing that people are changing to be a little more active in their daily routine, which is good.
Yeah, and I think, your company, Shawna, is more about for that aging population.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
But, so this might not be an aging population, podcast listeners, but we all have parents. Yeah. We all have neighbors. Yeah. We all have, teachers or whoever it might be. So, be an example for them instead of maybe just like telling them, hey, you should do A, B, and C. Maybe do it with them or like, promote that. If you work with someone that's a little bit older or something in the office, maybe promote like a walk at lunch or something instead of just like, hey, you should probably do this or you need to do that, because that doesn't necessarily work with everyone. I mean, you got to know who you're talking to with that kind of stuff. So
that's part of so when I think of like, I've been reading all these business books and you're supposed to set all these goals, and one of the ones, E-Myth Revisited, I don't know if you guys have ever heard that.
I think you told me about it. Yeah,
it's a great book. It's like on point. And one of the things that he wants you to do is put all these projections in line, like where do you see yourself in 2 years? Where do you see yourself in 10 years? And I put myself all the way out to where do I see myself in 20 years? So I'll be almost 60 in 20 years. And I looked at myself and I thought, I want a foundation that has grown so big and gained so much attention that I've collected so many funds that I can afford to provide like truly personal training services to 20% of the population. I mean, that would be fucking amazing for all of the people who, the ones that are scared to join CrossFit or, or the ones that pay for the 24-hour fitness memberships and never go. And then the 24-hour fitness and Gold's Gym and all those places, they charge like $70, $80. And I'm sorry, I am a personal trainer, but really, like, I could pay $100 or $120 and get a physical therapist, or I could pay $80 and get a personal trainer. Someone with a sheet of paper versus someone with 8 years of education. Like, the price point there, like, personal trainers are amazing, but I think they price themselves out just a little. So, like, I could raise enough money. We as a society could take a lot of our money that we have and put it towards providing people with exercise. And that would make such a huge difference in people's lives, It like, the impact on the healthcare system would go down. The impact on caregivers would go down. The caregivers' lives are greatly impacted, and their quality of life is better because they're not caring for people that are broken. It's just, that's like my goal. That's my dream. I'm like, I want to raise enough money to be able to provide movement services to a big group, a big percentage of the population.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
So going back, you mentioned that the average person loses
3 to 5% per year.
Okay, and that's if they're just stagnant, not doing anything?
Correct.
Or, okay.
Yeah, that's the average. Yeah, that's the average amount.
We're not average
no.
here.
We're not. Yeah. Don't worry, you're good. You just keep squatting and doing some presses and you'll be good. Yeah.
But I kind of wanted to get an idea from you. What can, like, just someone do to prevent that? Like, what is like a basic program or a basic movement, or what movements do you recommend people?
You have to challenge you have to challenge your body to adapt. So muscle growth is adaptation to stress that's put on it, right?
Right.
You continue to add load because your body actually breaks down the muscle just like a welder. It breaks down the muscle and it builds it stronger and better because you broke it. So I need to fix it better. They have to, every single person needs to constantly be challenging their body. That's why when the old person says, I walk, I'm like, that's great. You need to walk. But you need to actually challenge your body to make muscle because it's breaking it down. You have the capacity. You have the capacity until you are in the grave to make new muscle. You never stop making muscle. You lose more, but you never stop making it. And that's the other thing, like, I am not an advocate for ladies getting really thin when they get older. You know, we have so many women that get too thin. Well, the more body mass you have, the more lean muscle mass you have to move that body weight. Does that make sense? So, like, maintaining a healthy weight is actually really important for a woman as she gets older. And then, using real weights, like 10, 15, 20-pound dumbbells at the very least, and using them constantly. And when those get easy, then you have to add more weight. Just that. That's more weight.
So, like a farm. So, say someone who you're starting off with someone who just walks. Or drop the 2-pound dumbbells. Hey,
Get rid of those things.
Right.
Yeah.
So I love farmer's carry. I make a lot of people at work do them, and
But
they
it's
hate me for them. But
functional.
I'm like, hey,
especially for the older person, like, you're carrying groceries, you're gonna carry stuff around the yard, you're gonna carry buckets, like,
balance, core stability, shoulder stability.
Amazing.
Back.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Huge fan of the farmer's carry stuff. So squats, deadlifts.
Absolutely. They have to squat. They have to squat, and they have to squat below parallel, because that is something you need to be able to get up off the fucking floor. And how you, in some function, you are going to be performing some squat lunge variation when you get up off the floor. So absolutely, they need to be squatting. They need to be squatting with some weight to demand that their legs get stronger. They need to be doing balance exercises, standing on one foot. I tell every client I work with, and you guys should be doing it too, balance on one foot as you brush your teeth. It's a perfect opportunity to spend, like, I have a Sonicare toothbrush. It's and it beeps for quadrants, right? So I do 1 foot for the upper quadrant, which ends up being a minute, and 1 foot for the bottom quadrant, which ends up being a minute. And then I've gotten up now to where I can balance on a good day for 30 seconds with my eyes closed, which is really hard.
That is hard.
Yeah. But
We're gonna test you afterwards.
And I mean, you have the proprioception to brush your teeth with your eyes closed. Like, you get that feedback, so you don't actually need to look in the mirror. You know what it feels like. So it's a perfect opportunity to practice. My mom said to me, she's like, Shawna, she goes, it's hard enough to brush my teeth. Now you want me to do it on 1 foot? I'm like, well, yeah, I do. So I don't want you to fall. And she says, like, they turn their heads too fast, and they lose balance because they spin too fast. And I'm like, she's telling me this. My mother is 67, and she's telling me this. I'm just like, no, I'm not going to be coming home because you have a fucking broken hip. You know, it's just, it's preventable. Falls are preventable. 100%. Yeah, so balance exercises, farmer's carries, lifting the coffee pot. I had a client that told me that the coffee pot was getting heavy. I'm like, all right, we're upping your dumbbell regimen. I'm like, that's bullshit when the coffee pot gets heavy.
Get on them hammer curls.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, do you have other exercises that you would...
Well, just wanting to know, like, from the physical therapy standpoint, like, you know, these are all important things, but making sure that the client or the person, or, you know, like, if you're listening to this for your mom or something, that they can do it. You know, if they've had, like, a total knee replacement or something like that, and you're like, okay, well, they need to squat below parallel. Maybe not quite yet, you know, like what I'm saying, like, so just make sure that, or, you know, if they have some kind of comorbidity that is gonna prevent them, or you need to take some other factors in, you know, regarding if you want to have them, like, walking with some heavier weight with farmer's carries, you're just keeping those things in mind and making sure that you're being safe about it. Like, I'm all about not accommodating and making it challenging for the person, but you also want to make sure that you're like looking at comorbidities and looking at the person's overall health, seeing what kind of baseline you're starting off with. And then also like looking at their range of motion, their movement patterns, because you might have to modify for a little bit until they can squat below parallel. Because I think that's totally functional. That is so important. And then that kind of leads into, toilet health. Like we go, we go into like, in a lot of other countries, they are encouraged to squat below parallel because that's where how you have to use the bathroom. Right. Because you have to squat to a hole in the ground. So you're getting below parallel every single day. It doesn't matter how old you are, you're doing it. Right. Because you've got to go to the bathroom. And here, what happens is as you get older. Has anyone been into a hospital?
Yeah, they're like 10 feet high.
Like my legs dangle.
Seriously,
off the ground,
I don't like that. I'm a little guy.
Okay. Okay. So that's accommodating, because we can't squat low enough. So let's just keep raising the seat height. But then that's not good for bowel health either, because that's closing in your it's not allowing for your colon to actually relax. So you're not going to
squatty potties and
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder.
It's important.
Like if you look at the Asian demographic of seniors versus, I would say probably every senior I know, actually, I would say that suffers from some type of constipation. So I wonder, like, if you look at Asian populations and the ones that actually have to use the hole in the floor versus here, like, do they probably don't. So
I'm not sure about that statistics, but I do know that those cultures definitely have lower incidences of total knee and total hip replacements, like 100%. They do,
because they keep function.
Yeah, they keep function, they keep range of motion, they're using it. Right. We are losing it. Yeah! We're not using it.
Well, so speaking of, okay, check this out. And this is actually a good thing. I needed to ask somebody this anyways. I have a client who I don't work with anymore. I was working with her for a friend. She, this was her grandmother, and she had a total hip replacement. And they told her she was not allowed to ever, what were the limitations? She basically was only ever allowed to sit at 90 degrees. She wasn't allowed to go anywhere beyond 90 degrees. They had all of these like physical limitations on her hip. And I appreciated that they were afraid that it would maybe pop out. But I'm like, isn't that just screwing up that whole side of her body, not allowing her to use that hip fully?
Well, yeah, that's definitely going to affect your movement patterns for sure. I mean, typically after a total hip replacement
this usually was 2 years.
Oh, 2 years there shouldn't be any kind of precautions unless there was something drastic going on where they had to do something crazy. But typically those precautions are only, so many weeks, so many months after a total hip, you have certain precautions that you have to follow. Otherwise you are going to jack up that surgery. But yeah, 2 years after the fact, there shouldn't be
2 years and still in a walker.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, that's fucked up too.
But there's so many of those crazy surgeries that, I mean, these are big time surgeries that can be prevented, by proper movement patterns from the start, or proper strengthening, or not accommodating, actually using your full range of motion at your knee or hip to lower the risks of needing some of these things.
It's
so
that my 92-year-old, I started her on sit-to-stands, and and her knees hurt her so bad she screams, and you can hear them. I mean, you literally can pop pop pop, and I'm just like, I'm sorry, it's not. She says that she wants to move. She says that she wants to feel better. Well, the thing about moving and feeling better is you actually have to move in order to be able to. So, I push her, and I'm like, I'm being gentle, but that's the only way for her to get stronger. And I try to explain that you have to have a solid structure in order for, your knee to not be bone on bone as much. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so I I think she thinks I'm like the devil incarnate because I'm making her.
It's okay, most people think physical therapists are devils.
Yeah, you kind of are. You guys have mean thumbs, man. Yeah.
Where's your office located?
So we're completely mobile based.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm looking at getting a physical location. Right now it's out of my house.
Okay.
All of my staff are, like, we meet at a CrossFit 858 for staff meetings, or at fall.
Brewery.
Yeah. It's great. I'm definitely a millennial boss. We're meeting at like cafes and breweries. But yeah, and I will give you a card to your mom.
Yeah, absolutely. She'll definitely appreciate that. I'll send her over, or have you guys come over.
Yeah, and it's hard. What you were talking about earlier, our parents don't want to listen to us. How old are you? Do you mind?
34.
Okay. In your mom's eyes, you're 12.
Yeah.
You know nothing, and you could not ever give her any advice that she would actually take, for the most part. I mean, like, if it's a computer thing, it's funny. They default always to, like, fix the computer, fix my phone. But if it comes to, like, money or health or anything like that, I've been in the fitness industry now for 6 years, and my parents have only started in the last maybe 2 years actually listening to what, and it's funny because a lot of times they'll say, oh, well, I heard on this, news station, or I saw it in this magazine. I'm like, I told you that fucking 6 years ago. I told you that, but no.
They heard it from a mainstream source.
Right, not their kid. So, you have a challenging position twice over, because you're her kid and you're also you will be a primary caretaker. So we're not going to listen to our caretakers, because they are already the ones that do so many other things for us, and they shouldn't have to be responsible for telling someone to exercise, right? And then as a kid, she's not going to listen to you because you're her kid. So that's one of the coolest things that I've seen is coming in and the stuff that we're able to do for these people, and the caretaker will look at us and go, we tell them to do that all the time, and they don't even listen, or they're like, how do you get that? And it's because we're an outside source, and in that moment we're not the authoritarian, but we're the boss. So yeah, it's don't think that she's not listening to you.
Oh, no, I think she's actually been pretty receptive to what I've been telling her lately. Like you said, she came in,
Awesome.
She had surgery, I don't even think a year ago. So her ankle mobility is, like, not there right now. And
Right.
I said, okay, what can you do? Show me a squat. And she actually did a squat that, most people can't, get to. Like, I'm like, dude, that squat's beautiful. Start doing like 100 of those a day.
You'll be good.
Yeah, and she's like, oh, really? I'm like, yeah, just do that, up and down. Do like 50 to 100, like whatever. Just, if it feels good, keep doing it. Then stretch out afterwards.
Right.
Do lunges. I'm like, hey, do some lunges. Just make sure your ankle isn't feeling weird. If you feel some pain, just stop. I mean, I'm not a pro, but just move. I'm like, she went home and started doing all kinds. I gave her like a mobility ball that she could work
That's
with.
awesome.
And she's like, oh, okay, I never thought of this stuff. I'm like, yeah, hey, I'm new at this stuff too, so, and I still don't like doing it.
No, I know. Every
But
time.
I do.
Yeah, you have to do it. You do have to do it. I know my mom, she started doing a class. So they're in Maine, and they started doing a class last January, so January of 2016, on base, and it's like a CrossFit-esque kind of class. So they do often EMOMs, and it's a 30-minute class, and then they have yoga afterwards. And she's so funny because she has bad knees. Long story that I'm not going to go into, but I'm partially responsible for one of those bad knees, and then the other one by default is bad because she had favored that knee for so long. But she's been doing this class, and her knees are feeling so much better.
That's great.
Yeah, and she'll probably need replacements at some point. She had a torn ACL on one knee, but because she does squats and kettlebells and lunges, and she didn't think that she could. And she was like, I took her in. So they started in January, and I'm going to like pat my own back on this. They started because of me, and I was really excited. Her and I took the class together, and she realized that she could do it. And then she dragged my dad. But one thing that she didn't know she could do, and this is something I wish we could tell every older person they can do, is jump. it's something you don't even think about losing, but they lose it. You know, we do box jumps. We are goofs. We play still, right? Because we can, because our bodies are free. Well, they lose that. Their kids grow up. They stop jumping and goofing around because their kids grow up and they don't have any reason to do that stuff anymore. And I put down, those step ups, like the pink and green ones where like they have the one step.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
The ones that everyone keeps trying to jump on and fall over.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Okay, so I made my mom jump on that, but just the top part of it. And I was like, you can jump. She's like, Shawna, I don't think I can. And I said, Mom, you can.
Yeah.
You are capable of it. You've just lost that. But that dynamic, that's so important. It's such a fundamental thing to have. And she's so funny because she goes in twice a week and does her jumps. And she always tells me, I go and do my jumps. And it's like, it makes me feel good. Like, she got her jump back.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wish, don't lose your jump. Like, don't, always jump up on the curb or we don't think about it, but I don't know. That's important. I don't know why it's important, but.
Well, now they got all them trampoline parks, so you can actually go to a designated jumping area.
Yeah.
Super fun.
It's so fun.
Yeah, I haven't been yet. I still want to go.
Well, you should come with me. You should come with me too. I do novice gymnastics at SD United in Miramar.
No
it's
way.
friggin' $8.
What?
Yeah, it's $8, and you can go. This guy that runs the class is amazing. He's this ball of energy. You just laugh the whole time, and you get to be a fucking kid. You get to go on the rings. You get to go on the bars. You get to go in the foam pit. You get to do cartwheels. You just get to be a kid. And I will say my body hurts often. Weightlifter knees and tight shoulders, and the next day I wake up and I'm like, what the hell did I do? But my face hurts. I smile so much. It's just like, it's amazing. And that's one of my goals for this year is to get a back handspring. I've never been able to, but apparently from a physics standpoint, if you can do a body weight snatch, you can do a back handspring. You'll appreciate Leon was the one that told me that. So I'm working on my body weight snatch. I got 15 pounds to go for my body weight snatch. So I'm like, all right, cool. I'll get that. And then hopefully at the same time I get that I'll get my back handspring online and I'll be able to.
Man, I'm there.
Nice.
Yeah.
We gotta go, Claudia.
It's so fun. It's so fun. You can't even your body will hurt the next day.
I'm sure.
Yeah. He makes you do like splits too, like at the end, and he'll have you go into the split, and it doesn't matter how, if it's like, looks like you're just standing up with your legs a little bit apart.
That would be me.
Yeah. Well, then he comes over and pushes down on you, so you're like, oh, I thought I hurt before, and now he's like, no. Yeah. But it's great. It helps with your split. Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So what were some of the conditions that some of your clients had or have?
Oh
excuse
gosh, they run the gauntlet. We've got strokes, cerebral palsy, Parkinson's, Sturge-Weber, which is a neurological condition, epilepsy, just severe old age. And I say severe old age because they're 90 plus years old and they are decrepit.
Mm-hmm.
What else do we have?
Scoliosis. Yeah.
What do you think is like the toughest, excuse me?
There isn't one that is harder than the
sounds
other.
out.
Just depend on the patient.
I think, and Claudia has been an absolute blessing in that regard, because I didn't realize how frustrated I had become. You're given this client, like you're a CrossFit coach, right?
Yes.
So you have a client come in, a 30-year-old, and you put them through the test to see kind of how, you have them do that first class, and you see how they move, and you've got maybe a couple of things you need to work on, but their body isn't really broken yet. We have these people that are 60, 70, 80 years old. I still can't say it. And they have a bunch of stuff wrong with them, like a bunch. And when she came in, she saw my client Ray, and it was amazing because she helped me have some focus, because you don't know where to start. You're like, so my guy Ray, okay, you ready? He only has one kidney. He has congestive heart failure. He has total knee replacements in both knees. He had a stroke. He's type 2 diabetic, and he had gout. So his body is fucked, and he's in his 60s. And so I was hired to help rehab his stroke, and he'd had a bad fall, so he was super scared, and he didn't want to walk, and like scared, you wouldn't even like be able to process how scared he was. And I didn't know what to do. We were squatting. Like that was what I had him do. Lots of squats, lunges, we practiced walking, I practiced some arm movements, but I was overwhelmed because you don't know, like, you know what the fundamentals are, but you don't know beyond that, like, what am I supposed to do? What is the most important thing that I'm going to work on that's going to get the greatest bang for its buck? And so Claudia came in and, like, literally in one session completely changed the direction we were going. And he, like, you should see him. He's night and day.
Yeah.
Just because, you know, she pointed some things out that I had missed, because I'm not a physical therapist, and she gave me permission to focus, you know, and where I felt like I had to fix all of it right then and there, she allowed me to see, you know, what is the most important thing at the moment, and then focus on that, which is quad strength. His quad in his infected side is just like so weak, and we've been doing some isolated quad movements, and that's just been a game changer.
Nice.
And I think, like, talking about the focus and being so overwhelmed with everything and kind of, you know, keeping that end game in sight, and just knowing that it is going to be a long road. So many people try to look at that quick fix or that right now. I mean, that's why, you know, surgery is so high, because that's a quick fix.
Right.
That's not going through months of rehab, of trying to, like, actually build your body where it needs to be.
Right.
And so, yeah, it's really easy to get overwhelmed when you have so many different things to focus on, but also just always keeping in mind that it is going to be a long process, because you're fixing the actual problem.
Right.
Because you're not going for that quick fix of what's going to get me the quickest result right now, and what's that quick pill that's going to fix everything right now, but then cause like a million other things 10 years from now.
Right.
But it's, and it is a long process. There is no quick fix. It doesn't exist.
Mm-mm.
Like,
Even
so
if you
it's,
get the surgery.
yeah,
I mean,
it's not, so
I've
it's,
avoided surgery before. I
Yes.
tore my PCL, and they're like, "Oh yeah, surgery."
You
I'm
don't
like,
need that.
No.
You don't need it. Yeah.
Well, you just told me it's not even an important ligament.
It's not.
I'm just gonna go do some squats.
But $15,000, like
Yeah.
you're a price tag
Yeah,
right
exactly.
there.
I'm like, no, I'm going home.
Yeah.
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 But I love what you're doing with the company and, like, bridging the gap with, you know, sickness and sedentary lifestyle, moving from, you know, mobility and overall health. And that's really awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah,
And
it's
I
great
really
stuff.
hope that you change the world. And it's fantastic.
Trying.
So I, you know, and just saying, like, screw the healthcare system,
Yeah.
and try to bridge that gap with this, you know, this area that's missing out. And
Yeah.
this patient population that's missing out. So I really think it's awesome what you're doing. Anything else that you would like to plug? I mean, can you give a little bit more information about where they can find your website? Or
Yeah, so it's www.sdrehabandfitness.com. San Diego Rehab and Fitness is the company, and then if you want to donate to the foundation, it's the Michael S. Norton Foundation.
Okay.
And yeah,
And you cover all of San Diego County,
we
correct?
do.
Okay.
Yep.
Great.
I've got staff all the way up to Carlsbad and all the way down to National City and
Great.
all the way out to Santee. So and we're building. I mean, there are tons of people who are really stoked about working with this clientele population. Did I say that? Now I'm like saying clientele population. Good thing there's an edit button in there,
That's
right? Yeah.
Just leave that one in there.
The blooper. So there are tons of people who really, really value, because this is instant gratification. It's like you walk out of that person's house and they are always grateful. You'll never have someone that is bad. And the cool thing is because we don't take insurance, we get to pick and choose who we work with. So if we have an asshole client, we can fire them.
Yeah.
Like, we don't, my staff and I don't have to be miserable, you know, and that's like a prerequisite for the client working with us. They have to be willing to put in the work. we're not there to put them through the paces and then fix it for them. They have to be part of the process and take responsibility. And it isn't their fault that they're where they are, but they have to take responsibility for their health from here on out.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much for
Yeah,
coming on.
thank
It was a
you.
pleasure
That was
having
great.
you.
Yeah,
So
thank you
definitely
very much.
check out her website, San Diego Rehab and Fitness. Thanks, Shawna.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Lionheart Radio. Subscribe on iTunes and Stitcher Radio. And don't forget to give us a 5-star rating for all of your supplement needs. And for show notes, visit luavive.com.